Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I've got January's numbers to recap this week, as well as a look at how our market is continuing to chug along as we get into 2025. So looking at January's numbers. In January of 2024, so last January, we sold 49 units and our average price was $961,000. This January, we sold also 49 units, but our average price is up almost 12% to $1,075,000. So we've definitely seen our average price getting pulled up. Last year, we had 3 months. We had December, September, and August where we saw our average prices under that $1 million mark. So how we want to start the year is definitely seeing that number climb back over to our million to 1.1 mark, which is where we're very used to seeing it. And you know, when the market gets busier, we do see it usually hit like a 1.2, sometimes above that, but that's sort of the trend we're used to seeing. And we suspect, I mean, we don't know everything that's going on right now, but based on everything we're seeing, I think these prices are going to continue to climb month to month. That's no huge surprise. It's sort of what I predicted. We did see a ton of properties selling over that million mark, and it really helped to bring our average price up. We are up significantly since December. We're up 19% versus our average price in December. So all of these things sort of match what we were seeing when we were seeing those higher price properties starting to move again in January. So we're going to be watching this. 1.1 to 1.2 is a very common place for us to land in Halton Hills in terms of our average price. So when we were in the 9s, it was like, oh, this market is not great. But to be back pushing that 1.1 mark, and I suspect even higher in the coming months, that's sort of more normal for Halton Hills. So we'll be watching our average price closely, but a really good start to 2025 in my opinion. So now looking at what happened last week. Georgetown saw 9 sales, which is a good week for Georgetown. The buyers are definitely active right now. There is not a ton of available inventory, so I would say 9 is a good week. It's showing movement in our market. There were 11 new listings. So for the second week in a row, our new listings are slightly outpacing our sales, but we're still not seeing inventory skyrocket. In Acton, we saw 1 sale and 2 new listings. No new listings and no sales in Glen Williams, and no sales in the rural market, but 2 new listings. And of note, 60% of the properties that sold last week were over that million mark. So like we've been talking about, some of our higher price point stuff is selling. It's that, that million plus pocket was super quiet in 2024, and we felt it in our average price. But in January, we saw a lot of sales, and that seems to be a trend that is continuing in the million plus market. So interesting thing to be watching. But another note is a lot of the new listings coming on are over that million mark, and we know that that market can get very saturated very quickly. So 11 of the 16 new properties last week were over that million mark. So again, it can get saturated very quickly, but right now we're sitting in an okay spot. And then looking at properties that come on the market, change their price, relist, all of that stuff. As I talked about last week, when the market gets busier, we see that number shrink. There's some weeks where we see 20 to 30 listings that are adjusting. This week, we only had 5 properties. We had 3 of the 5 come off the market and 2 of the 5 relisted at a lower price. So it's showing that like the market is in a stronger position because people are having to do a little bit less in terms of exiting the market or adjusting their pricing. So that's a really interesting note as well. Now looking at active inventory, all of Halton Hills is up slightly to 127 active listings. Again, this is still a more comfortable number than the majority of what we saw in 2024. So we were over 230 and now we're at 127. So you can definitely feel how that would be a little less saturated. In Georgetown this week, our inventory went up slightly from 72 to 74 active listings. So not a huge jump, and we're still sort of in that, I won't call it the busy pocket. Like we need to really be getting a little bit lower, like 60s and 50s, to be feeling like our market's really going to start picking up. But 74 is still a low-ish number, and our market should start to see prices increase as long as that inventory doesn't skyrocket. So now looking at our price points, under 800,000 is the same this week at 9 active listings, and they're majority condo townhomes or condo apartments. 800 to a million is down slightly from 18 to 17 active listings, and there are some really nice properties available under that $1 million mark right now. 1 to 1.5 million is actually down slightly from 26 to 24 active listings. And again, that is because we're seeing sales in that price point. So even though inventory is coming up there, we are seeing quite a bit of sales in that pocket. So, you know, it's kind of hovering in a good spot. But like I said, that price point, if the properties that exited in that price point start to flood the market again, we could see that really start to saturate. And 1.5 million plus is up from 19 to 24 active listings. So that is a bit of a jump for that higher ticket price point. I do think we still are seeing low sales in our 1.5 million plus, but if we start to heat up in the lower pocket, that will start to trickle up to 1.5 million plus. So now looking at the other markets, Acton remained the same this week at 7, still sitting very low in inventory there. Glen Williams remained the same at 4, which is also low. And the rural market is up from 40 to 41. Rural is still sitting very high. I mean, it's lower than it was, but we just have a lot of rural properties available, and it's been harder to move those. So again, we hope that the in-town market can pick up so that the rural market can start to feel a little bit of heat too, because it has been a very slow process for virtually everything in the rural market. So overall, I think this week is a positive update. So we had a really strong January in comparison to the back half of 2024. So that is a promising sign. We also are continuing to see sales coming through right now. So buyers are getting more active. We did see another interest rate drop. So I know there's some uncertainty with everything going on down south, you know, kind of with our borders and stuff, but right now it hasn't really impacted the market, and I think that we are coming in to a really nice spring here for sellers. And as buyers, I think our prices are going to be going up. So it's a good thing to maybe get ahead of that in 2025. So I will be back next week to see how we start off February. Have a great week, everyone.